Hello, my name is Linda McCormick. The subject of this video is how to make a dashboard. And you can make your dashboard as simple or as complex as you wish. I'm just going to demonstrate a very simple dashboard so that you'll have the basics of the actual construction. Then you can decorate it as you wish. So just to introduce the project, here's a dashboard that I have made for a friend of mine. So I'm going to show you how to make this. So the most amazing thing happened when I was out shopping for a laminator. I found these, and they come in different colors. So there's also a brown and a black. The amazing thing is that at Michael's, they were 80% off for what turned out to be $3. And I get 2 inserts, a clear page, and some craft paper. I thought $3, it was definitely worth that. So let's go ahead and make a dashboard. So what you are going to need for your dashboard, your tools, will be a cutting board with a grid. This is going to be helpful when you're placing your scraps of paper on top of the laminating pouch. You'll need a paper cutter, and I'm sure you've got something that'll function that way, just something. You're going to need a laminating machine and a laminating pouch. You'll separate it and put your papers in between it. The one question I had was what weight of paper should I use? It looked like the choices were 3 milliliters or 5 milliliters. Because this is supposed to bend. You know, I thought if I had too thick a laminating sheet, it may keep it from being as flexible as I need. So I thought I would try with the lighter weight paper first, and it was just fine. So that's a little bit of savings. You don't have to have the 5 milliliter laminating pouches. So then you'll need scrapbooking paper of your choice and a corner chomper. And I don't have my corner chomper here. That's probably because I think it's not acceptable. I've got a cheap one and it works fine just on paper, but when you try to chomp corners after the lamination is on, it jams. And that's very frustrating. So as soon as I can, I'm going to get a better corner chomper. And then any stickers or embellishments that you want to include. Let me just show you a couple ideas. On this one, if I had wanted to be a little more decorative, I could have included some coordinating scrapbook paper with some designs punched out of it using my border maker. I could have run a border maker edge along one edge of the dashboard or the other. But for my first efforts, I'm just keeping it simple. So, my first recommendation, my first piece of advice is to make one out of paper that's not important to you. Because the first one I made was not good. And if I had been using the special paper that I wanted to use for my daughter, I would have been very disappointed. So I would recommend making a practice once. And also the other thing you need to watch for is how the laminator is going to work. I didn't have experience laminating, and that was the primary place that I ran into trouble. The next thing you need to think about is which of the pieces of paper is your front cover and which is your back cover, because you're going to place them on the laminating pouch and run it through the machine, and then you're going to have something that works like this. So this is my front cover, this is my back cover. So without a corner chomper, I'll just cut just round that corner a little bit. Pretty good. Who needs a corner chomper? Okay, you notice that I didn't round the inside corners because that's like this edge. It's not rounded, it's the outside edge that's rounded. So the next thing is we're going to laminate these sheets, and this is where the grid comes in handy. So let me move this up so you can see it. So I'm going to line up carefully the edge of my laminating paper with one of the grid lines of this cutting board. Then I'm going to, all right, now I have to decide what do I want to have for my outside, this one or this one. I think I'll go with the plaid. So coming down relatively close to the fold of the laminating paper, I'm going to put this edge right on the first 1/4 inch, and the inside of the cover, we'll call it, lined up with this line. And there's a little bit of static which keeps it from moving too much, which also makes it hard to reposition. So that looks good. Now you want the second cover, the front, which will be the front, to be about 1/2 inch from the back cover. So let me, so that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to fold this down carefully. And this is the part I have the most trouble with, and that's getting this to the laminating machine without everything moving. So I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so there we have the first run through the laminating machine, and they recommend letting it cool for a second on a flat surface. So we'll let that do that. That's one side. There's the other side. And I suppose if you changed your mind and wanted that to be the front, it wouldn't really matter which way you folded it, and you could probably swap it out. So let's see, so that's cooled. The next step takes some precision, and that is to trim off the extra. But you don't want to trim so close that you eliminate the seal. So here's my cutting line. I'm gonna butt the edge of the paper right up against the channel where the cutting goes. And this may be a little wide, but I'd rather. So can you see how much is left there? Okay, let's do another side. Again, I'm lining the edge of the paper up on the edge of the channel, the cutting channel. And you're going to do all 4 sides. Now at this point, it's a good thing to run this back through the laminating machine, so I'll be back in just a minute. Oh, one more tip. Remember, it went through like this. Now I'm going to run it through rotated 90 degrees. It's just going to give the rollers are going to hit the paper at a slightly different spot. And one reason to trim off so much of this is, like, my laminator will take a sheet of paper that's 9 inches wide. If I didn't trim this close enough, it would be too wide to go through my laminator. Okay, again, we'll let that cool for just a second. Now, since this is where my corner chomper failed me drastically, I tried chomping this corner and it jammed. It jammed so bad that the corner chomper's hanging off of this. It won't release. I do a Google search to see what I can do, and they suggest dropping it from a high height. I did that several times. That didn't work. They suggest getting a hammer and pounding on it. That didn't work. So the last thing they suggested, it did work, but it's very, who wants to do this? I had to put it in the freezer. So again, I'm just going to do a manual trim here. Hopefully when I get a better corner chomper, it can handle this. But what the heck, I think that's good. So now I could either use it with this being the outside, or I could use it with this being the outside. And it really, I guess it doesn't matter. So I've seen videos where they took the 2 pages and just took some packing tape to connect them. But then you're going to have some ridges here. And I also think that could come apart too easily. So I like the idea of using a laminating machine. Now to just show you how I took basically a $3 faux Midori and got this. First thing I did was ditched this string, took that off, and got some elastic of my own, inserted it, tied a knot, and now I have a more traditional closure. This one, I used some scrapbook paper that did not have a reverse side, but it still looks pretty nice, I think. And on this one, I just used some plain cardstock scrapbooking paper, and then on this was my second practice to make sure I knew what I was doing. You know, you could have put stickers, you could have put some borders on it, all sorts of things to make it prettier, but it's still functional. And then I like this little tip that I found for a pencil holder. Just get a spring clip, and you can just stick your pen through it for a holder. So I hope you've enjoyed my excursion into videos of accessories for the Traveler's Notebook. This won't be the last one. I hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to sharing with you in the future, and I hope you have a great day. Take care.